Hey guys, welcome back to part 5 of my Q&A for my 2,000 subscribers. We've got 3 questions from Interghost, and the first question from Interghost is: how much time do you spend on your YouTube channel each week, and how much time do you spend on watching other people's videos a week? I don't know specifically time-wise because obviously I don't time myself, but but I'm on my YouTube channel every single day. First thing in the morning, I go on there during the day on my phone if I can, but you can't really do a lot because the app isn't that great. And I come on at night time as well, so I go on as much as I can every day really, and I watch as many videos as I possibly can as well. I watch quite a lot of videos. I do try my best to keep up with as many as I can and to keep up with people, and I do a pretty reasonable job, I think. I always respond to PMs and comments as much as I can. I watch as many videos as I can. You do have to fit YouTube around your life, so it's not always that easy to get to it. But I like to keep on top for 2 reasons. One, because I like to keep in touch with everybody and be a part of the community, but also, as people will know, if you leave it for 2 days or something, your sub box goes mental and you just can't keep up and you run out. You haven't got enough time in the day to watch like 20-25 videos, so you have to try and keep on top of it daily so that you don't have that problem. Question number 2: do you live alone? No, I don't. Question number 3: if you could only have games or movies in the world, which would you choose? I couldn't. Basically, there's no way I could choose between the two because I like them both equally. No, I really couldn't choose, to be honest, mate. I love gaming to death, but I absolutely love movies. Movies are fantastic, and there's no way I can choose between those two, I'm afraid. Next question is from JSUF and the question is: how many hours per day on average would you say you play games? I don't daily game, mate, to be honest with you. It's just depends on how I'm feeling. Some days I just don't feel like gaming at all. I'm not like when I was a kid. I had all the time in the world, and like LMA187 said the other day, basically as a kid you've got the time and you don't care because you've got no responsibilities. You're just there playing games constantly and you're just nailing games. It's great fun. But as an adult you have responsibilities, you have things you have to do in life, and so the time's not always there to game every day, unfortunately. I would love it to be. If I always wonder, like, game journalists and that, do they have time to game, or do they just get a brief quick go just to review the game? It'd be interesting to know, because it would be cool to have a job in the industry so that you could just play games all the time and get all the latest news. But then I just wonder if it would be like any job whereby your day's taken up so much that you don't have enough time to sit down and really get engrossed in a game. So yeah, I don't know how long I play on a daily basis, but when I do game, if it's modern gaming, if the game is really good and it absorbs me, I can sit there for a good 4 to 5 hours quite easily and just get sucked into the environment. Retro gaming, slightly different because the games aren't as involved. And so I can spend 2 or 3 hours, in a good session, just playing one game if it's a really good one, or I can just be flicking between a couple of games, depending on my mood really. Just drinking my tea. Okay. Next question comes from Antroid08, who asks: where do you go for your retro games, and what news are you looking forward to from Nintendo's E3 conference? Great questions, mate. Retro game wise, I usually go to eBay. That's my main one, because obviously I import a lot of games, so that's the best route for me to go. Other than that, for anything for the UK, like PS2 and Xbox, I go to car boot sales, or in America they're called flea markets. And I also go to shops like Game Station, Cash Generators, and there's a shop down by me, a retro shop called MT Games, which is like a massive retro shop, which is on my channel. If you've not seen the video, go and check it out, because I think it's a 3-part video, so it's quite long, but it's a whole tour of the shop, and it's a really cool shop. And since I've shot that video, the shop's got even bigger. There's a lot more stuff in there now. It's really expanded well. And what am I looking forward to hearing from Nintendo's conference? Lots of things, mate. The most important thing for most gamers who are interested in Nintendo definitely is the new system. I'm absolutely fascinated by the new system. There's so much I want from that system, and I just want Nintendo to get it right. I know they will, because Nintendo always do. I know you can debate that on some of their systems, but they know what they're doing. I want to hear loads of really cool Wii games that are coming out that are interesting, more reboots, more sequels to games. More like last year when they came out. They showed Skyward Sword. They got Donkey Kong Country Returns. They got GoldenEye. They got Kirby. They absolutely kicked ass last year. They destroyed Sony and Microsoft last year, and I'd love to. Well, I know they're going to win again this year. There's no way that Microsoft and Sony are going to beat Nintendo unless they've got some kind of amazing surprise up their sleeve, and it won't be Sony that does it, because Sony can't keep a secret. All their stuff gets leaked out a couple of weeks beforehand. So yeah, unless Microsoft have got some amazingly innovative console that they're going to unveil, and this is Microsoft, so I don't think they will. They're just going to make a more powerful box because that's all they do. So yeah, I think I want to see all the information on the new system. The best thing of all is the fact that Nintendo have made it playable for the journalists, which is great because we should get to see, hopefully, a taster of what the launch titles are going to be. I assume that's what they're going to have on display, unless they just have tech demos to play. I don't know. I don't know how it's going to work. We'll wait and see. But I'm looking forward to getting all the information on the new system and the games that are on display to play, and to get impressions and all of the interviews, reviews, all the stuff, the really good stuff that goes with E3. I love watching the interviews with Reggie because Reggie's the man, and I'm really looking forward to any fantastic Wii titles that get announced. And obviously 3DS is going to be another massive thing for Nintendo because it's gone a bit quiet at the moment. We're still waiting for the good games to come out. There are a couple of reasonable launch titles, but we're still waiting for the core titles, the Star Foxes, the Zeldas, the quality titles, the Kid Icarus. So yeah, I mean, to be honest, Nintendo is the most important one at E3 this year, I think, because they're going to have so much information. If you look at Sony, they've got NGP, which is fair enough, they're going to milk that one. And the Sony press conference is always good. I mean, Kevin Butler is hopefully going to be there because I love that dude, he's brilliant. They've got a lot of good exclusives this year. Hopefully we'll see some more Uncharted 3 footage, which will be brilliant. Microsoft are the biggest dark horse this year because no one seems to know what they're going to be talking about. They've got Gears of War, and yeah, they've got Kinect. They might obviously show us alleged hardcore Kinect titles, which quite honestly I'm not interested in Kinect. However, Blutonic78 keeps getting me interested because he keeps talking it up so much, and he's a very honest person and he doesn't bullshit, and I like that. And he seems to really like the system and he thinks it's got potential. So because Alex is telling me it's good, I've got a feeling I will buy one eventually, but I want a reason to buy one. I don't want to just buy Wii games, there's no point. So yeah, I'm interested to see what Microsoft are going to come up with on that aspect. Are they going to produce anything that's worthwhile? But I mean, what else can they do other than announce a new system, which I don't see them doing because there's no point really at this moment in time. It's a tough one. They need to, like their new system, they could always announce the specs, I suppose. I just don't see them unveiling the actual console there, and then they might give an idea of what they're projecting to do in 2014, which is apparently the day when when they're going to bring the new system to market, the same as PlayStation. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe Microsoft have something absolutely stunning up their sleeve that no one we won't expect, and they will shock us all. I just doubt it very much. Right, next one. Where are we now? I've lost track. Right, okay, yeah. This one is from, how do I pronounce that? Is it 3 Augustones? I do apologise, mate. I'm terrible with screen names. Question is, what is your favourite character from any beat 'em up fighting game on any system? And it says, cheers dude, well done. Thank you. Thank you for the question as well, mate. Favourite character from any beat 'em up fighting game is, I can't pick one, so I'm going to just sort of do two. I'm going to do one from a beat 'em up, which would be a scrolling beat 'em up, which would be Cody from Final Fight, because Cody's just a cool dude, he's got a little quiff, and he's always my favourite character in that game. It's my favourite scrolling beat 'em up. Fighting game, I would split that and make it fighting game as in like a one-on-one fighter like Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, Soul Calibur, that kind of game. And that would be Ryu from Street Fighter, because Ryu's the best. I've always used Ryu from day one, and I need to diversify and try other characters, but I just love playing with Ryu. I love dragon punches, hurricane kicks, fireballs, mid-air hurricanes. You just can't go wrong, he's the man. I've always found him better than Ken, because I always found like Ken is too easy, whereas Ryu takes a bit more skill and a bit more practice. Okay, Sony PS Gamer wants to know, which retro game would you like to see being brought back from obscurity and given the next gen treatment? That's a good question. Got to try and think of something that hasn't been done. As I said earlier, I think the last Ninja series would be really, really good. I just don't know if it would sell as well nowadays. I think it's more for people like us who are nostalgic and play the games in the first place. I'd also like to see Barbarian come back. I've always wanted to see a new version of Barbarian. If you've never seen Barbarian, check it out. It's a great game. It's a one-on-one fight with swords, and you get to chop each other's heads off. And it's really brilliant. So it's a cracking game. Next question. What do you think the new Wii will be called? My money's on the Super Wii. Nice. I have no idea, mate. As I said earlier, they're saying that it could be the Stream. It could be the feel, because apparently this alleged touchscreen thing's got this haptic technology where you get like rough and smooth surfaces, which is absolutely mind-blowing. I can't understand how the hell that works, and if it is, that's seriously cool. Other than that, I just don't know what they're going to call it. Nintendo always come up with like interesting names, project names in particular. Like they had the Revolution before, the Ultra 64. They've always come up with really interesting titles. I mean, this one, like Project Cafe, what the hell does that even mean? That's a weird one. So, then obviously they called the last system, eventually they called it the Wii. So it's like, it started out as a Revolution, then it became the Wii. It's like, I still think Nintendo Revolution was better, but, the Wii's worked. It was silly at the time, and it's captured the imagination, it's worked well. So it wouldn't surprise me if they do come up with something like a Nintendo feel. I really don't like it at the moment, but I didn't like the Wii at first, and it grew on you, so who knows. Right, next one is from, we've got a set of questions from Inferno V2, and the first question, what are your top 3 N64 games? And N64 I've not played enough to really make a good judgment, but from the games I've played, I would say like GoldenEye, obviously, classic, Conker's Bad Fur Day, absolutely stunning game, it's a really overlooked game, I think that it's a few people know about it obviously, and it's quite common knowledge, but it just doesn't seem to get as much praise as it deserves. It's just a really, really well thought out game. It was excellent at the time. And what else? Oh, of course, Star Fox 64. How can it not be? Star Fox 64 is an absolute genius game, and I'm a big Star Fox fan, so yeah. GoldenEye, Star Fox 64, and Conker's Bad Fur Day. Have you ever owned a Sega Saturn, or do you not like the system? Overall, what are your thoughts on it? I have owned a Saturn. I owned one last year briefly, and I thought it was a pretty decent system. It was well constructed. I didn't like the controllers too much. I thought they were a bit cheap and plasticky, but I thought the console itself was extremely well built. And I didn't really get to try enough games to find out if I like the system or not. So I have considered getting another one just to get more knowledge of what the games are about, because I played Rayman, which is like a multi-platform game anyway, but I thought the Saturn version was really nice, a beautiful looking game. And I'd like to try some of the fighting games because they look really cool. I know like the Japanese Saturn's always better for shooters, but I'm not as big into shooters as I was as a kid, so I'd rather just get a UK Saturn and have a look at the UK games and try and get an interest. So it's not that I don't like it, it's just I've not really given it enough time. Okay, I know you're more of a Nintendo guy, but do you have a Dreamcast and Genesis? I bet you do have a Dreamcast and Genesis. I would say it's part of the end of the question, yeah. Yeah, so yeah, you never know, dude, I might end up buying a Saturn. To be honest, the price of them at the moment on eBay, they're quite pricey. You're looking at about 50 quid for a decent box one, which is quite a lot of money, really. Right, now, my good friend Labosu77. First question. I'm starting a bit retro here, but do you still eat banana and cheese sarnies? I haven't for a long time, to be honest with you. It's not something I eat regularly, it's just, when I get the urge, but they are cracking. And can it be any sort of cheese? Well, I suppose it can. Cheddar's the best, but Red Leicester's my favourite. Red Leicester is just epic. It's really nice with bananas. Other than that, I've never tried like Edam or like mouldy cheese or anything weird like that, because it might taste a bit crap. But yeah, Red Leicester is my favourite one, but you can't beat a good bit of cheddar. What in-game lady character did you have the hots for? Be honest. Dude, honestly. I can't say I ever have, to be honest with you. I suppose like attractive characters are like Chun-Li, Cammy. Cammy's got a great arse. What a ridiculous question, honestly. I don't know. Other than them two, I'm trying to think of female characters. Oh yeah, I think was it Chloe? I think that's her name. The one in Uncharted 2, the one with the dark hair. Yeah, if you're going to say an animated character is attractive, I suppose she was probably the most attractive. Okay. Who would you play in the film of your life, and what genre would the film be? Edward Norton, one of the greatest actors out there. He'd do a great job. And what kind of genre would it be? If you kind of like a dark noir thriller. Yeah, that'd be an interesting one. I think Edward Norton could do that well because he's very good at doing the moody thing. And finally, do you know any good jokes? Nah. I'm not very good at jokes, so I'm really crap at telling them. And he says, well done on the 2000. Cheers, dude. Right, Big Daddy Darth wants to know. Apparently he wants to know when I'm going to do a room tour. Yeah, that will be definitely coming. I've really got to get my arse in gear and sort that out, dude. So I'm just having problems finding posters at the moment. I found quite a lot, but there's a couple. I need to get some more for the last bit of the wall. The wall's looking a bit bare, so I'm having problems finding anything I like. But I'll get there, and I'll pop that video up because I want to get the room tour sorted. And he asks, why did you start collecting? God, I can't even say. Why did you start collecting what you collect? Mainly because the Super Nintendo is the first system I ever owned and bought for myself, and because it is my favourite system because of that reason, because of the nostalgia factor. And just, as a kid I could never have so many Super Nintendo games. I could only have a certain amount because of the price, they were so expensive, and I had to buy them for myself, so I couldn't afford it. I only had paper round at that point, so it was literally just saving up for weeks to buy one game. So yeah, I mean, now I've got the opportunity to buy as many as I want, and they're quite relatively cheap. Some of them are ridiculously priced, but they're relatively cheap compared to what they used to be when I was a child. So yeah, that's the main reason I collect Super Nintendo. And Xbox is just because it's my favourite system from last gen, and the games are so cheap at the moment, it's the best time to buy them before they start getting retro and becoming really expensive and going for silly prices on eBay. Having said that, some of the guys on UK eBay are charging over the top for Xbox games, and I've got no idea why. I've seen some games on there for 40 quid, which are like common games which you can get for like £2 down the shop. So they're idiots. Right, next 3 questions from Striker92. Question number 1. What are your favourite consoles of each generation? Okay, 8-bit generation, there isn't a console because obviously being British, we had computers, we didn't have consoles. The NES was sort of like really late when that came out, and it was never really picked up that well. All my friends had 8-bit computers, and then my one friend, for some reason, got rid of his Spectrum and ended up with an NES. He was the only one that had a console, and that was really late into the life. I'm pretty certain he got that when we had our Amigas as well. So 8-bit consoles, it would have to be computers, and that would be the Commodore 64. 16-bit is sort of computers slash consoles, because I went from an Amiga 500 to a Super Nintendo. I also had a Mega Drive at one point, which was a major mistake on my part. I got rid of my Super Nintendo to get a Mega Drive because I've got an obsession with Streets of Rage, and then I realised I shouldn't have done it. And the Mega Drive's a great system, but I'm always going to be a Super Nintendo guy, so I got my Super Nintendo back after that. So yeah, I'd say 16-bit Super Nintendo, 32-bit PlayStation 1 definitely, and 64-bit is going to have to be the N64, because as much as I like the Jaguar, it ain't a patch on the N64. 128-bit Xbox, without a doubt. PS2, Dreamcast, GameCube, all great systems, but Xbox is king. And then this current generation is going to be PS3, closely followed by the Wii. As I say, it's difficult because the PS3 is, in this generation, there's a lot of multimedia involved, so overall the PS3, if you're talking purely gaming, probably the Wii. Question number 2, which Nintendo system did you enjoy the least? The only reason I'm going to say this, and it's going to be the NES, is because, as I say, when I was growing up, like most people in the UK, and probably in Europe as well, down there, the NES wasn't a big deal. It was more of a big deal in America. And so we never really had that system. It was just, as I say, I had one friend who ended up getting one for some random reason. Other than that, we were all into computer side, and we had Amigas, we had Commodore 64s, Spectrums, Amstrads. It was never about console, so I've never really given the system enough time. I had one last year briefly. I imported one on eBay. I just had a loose console just to try the system out, and I thought it was pretty damn good actually. I like the music a lot. I mean, the graphics you have to just accept because they are 8-bit graphics, but like all consoles, you have the games that look absolutely stunning, and you have the games that are just shit. But yeah, the NES. The only reason I would say it's my least favourite Nintendo system is because I've not given it enough time, and in the future I would like to give the system a really good play and get a lot of good games for it. And I want to play like the Mega Mans, the Castlevanias, the games I've never played and I want to play and enjoy, because I know there's a lot of good games to be had on that system, and there's a lot of enjoyment to get from it. So yeah, at this point it would be the NES. But I think once I get some love for the NES, there won't be a least favourite Nintendo system because they're all brilliant. Question number 3. If any of the current companies, Sony, Nintendo and Microsoft, were to drop out of the console business, would you like to see Sega make a comeback? Everybody's obsessed with Sega making a comeback. You know, it amazes me the amount of times that you see this online and Sega just aren't taking any interest. As I say, it's probably just purely business and they don't think it's viable financially to do so. But yeah, absolutely. As I said earlier, I'd like to see Sony and Microsoft gone, Sega come back, and Sega and Nintendo fight it. And if possible, a British company make a console, so we've got those three. That'd be an interesting dynamic. But it's never going to happen. Sony and Microsoft are here to stay, I think. That's pretty much, they've established their position. Microsoft, I don't know how long they're going to last. I think Sony's got more chance of going in the long term than Microsoft, but they could surprise me. It's hard to say. I don't think Microsoft have got a complete grasp on the gaming community yet. They're still feeling it out, and they've gotten some of their key players who made Xbox what it was have gone. You know, there's no Peter Moore, there's no Jay Allard. People that were important at the time and the figureheads of Xbox. I mean, Peter Moore's gone to EA to do sports, which is just ridiculous because he was one of the reasons to watch E3. Microsoft now at E3 are just boring as hell. Yeah, I just don't care. Yeah, it's a real shame. You know, you look at Nintendo's the only one who's got a cool figurehead with Reggie. Reggie's the man. But yeah, anyway, that's getting off the point. I'd absolutely love to see Sega come back and make a new system. Next questions are from, let me see, 1980 Gamer, who asks, if you could only have one console and one game from any generation, what would they be? It would be the Super Nintendo with Street Fighter 2 Turbo. I was going to say Mario World because it's got more to it and you wouldn't get as bored, but I've never got bored with Street Fighter 2 Turbo from the day it came out, so after all these years, it holds up to this point now and I still enjoy playing it. Definitely, that would be the one. But yeah, definitely Street Fighter 2 Turbo and the SNES. Next question from Adam Cast Music. Out of everything you own that has to do with video games, what means the most to you and why? Well, out of everything I own, it would be the Super Nintendo collection because it's got so much nostalgia being the first system I owned, and just for that reason alone, it holds a lot of memories from games that I used to play as a kid, like Mario World, Mario Kart, Castlevania 4, Super Pro Protector / Contra 3. Awesome games, and you know, they had a massive impact on me. And the Super Nintendo was a system that really got me into console gaming because at that point I was into computers, like most people over here, as I said previously, and consoles was like not something I was interested in at that point. You got to understand at that point, to a lot of parents as well, consoles weren't worth the money because it was like, well, why would you buy a console when all you can do is play games? When you've got a computer where you can do a lot more, you can do paint packages, you can do programming, you can do, you know, you can do word processing, you can do all these different things and play games. But of course, you know, kids want to play games, that's all they want to do, so consoles do make sense. And the games are extremely expensive at the time, as they still are really. You know, I mean, if you've got a family now to bring kids up and buy kids these games, it's not cheap. I mean, 40 quid a game, it's ridiculous. And especially if you've got multiple consoles, so you've got 40 for an Xbox or PS3, and you might have a Wii as well. So they're usually about 30 quid when they come out. It's an expensive game. But yeah, I would say my Super Nintendo is the most important collection to me out of everything that I own. Right, next questions are from Blaze Vincent. If money were no object, what game would you buy right now? It would be Final Fight 3, because I need that for the collection for the SNES, and it's really expensive and it annoys me because it's just so pricey, but I've got to buy it one day. I just love that game to bits and I really want it for the collection. If money were no object, what console would you buy right now? A Sega CDX, without doubt. I wouldn't even think about it. The problem is they are quite pricey, and you're talking about $200. There are some that I've seen for like 150, 185, but it's trying to find one in perfect condition, unscratched, which is really hard. And especially when you're buying loose systems, it's really hard to get them unscratched. And the box ones are like, you know, $500 or whatever. No way I'm paying that. But yeah, Sega CDX is the ultimate. It's the one system I've never owned and I really want to own. And I also would probably like to buy a Virtual Boy at some point as well. If money were no object, what video game piece of merchandise would you buy right now? I'd buy the Halo Collector's Edition just to get a statue because I really like that. Sorry, Halo Reach Collector's Edition. Is it the Legendary Edition? I think that's right. That statue is just really cool. When I saw people picking that up, I was really jealous because it's one of the one times I've actually looked at a collector's edition and thought, yeah, that's worth the money. It's really, really nice. However, it's just so expensive. If it ever comes down in price, which I highly doubt it will, because it'll only go up because it become more collectible. But I would have got it, but yeah, I don't think I'll ever own it, unfortunately. What's your preferred method plan to kill Slip before the crap he put you through, should you happen to bump into him? Foot to the face, that's the best one. He's only a toes, you just squish him. What game did you think you would hate, but it managed to go down as one of your all-time favourites? Heavy Rain, without a doubt. Never thought I was going to enjoy that game. It's totally the opposite of what I play usually. The controls, you know, the whole quick time, I hate that. I played the demo the first time, couldn't get on with it, couldn't get to grips with the controls, I just kept messing it up and I couldn't complete the demo. I got really frustrated. And quite a few weeks later, I ended up just giving it another try, and it just clicked. And I was just like, I totally understood what I was doing. I totally got it, and I got involved in the story. And I was like, this is brilliant. I've got to buy the full game. And then Radio 3 happened to let me know that it was going cheap at Argos. So I went down to Argos and picked it up for, I think it was about £15-20 at the time. And I spent 2 days solid just playing it, and I absolutely love that game. It's the game of 2010 for me. It's just stunning. And for anybody who would look at that game and think like me, oh God, that looks crap, just give it a try, because it really is a seriously impressive title. Okay, and the last question from Blaze Vincent is favourite cartoon as a kid. I've got loads, mate, to be honest with you. I mean, I was a big fan of Mask. Centurions was another one which I loved. There was obviously He-Man, awesome. Thundercats. He-Man was probably the biggest one. I was a really big fan of He-Man at the time. And I remember when I got the He-Man figure, where you put the caps in his back, and you like flip him like it breaks, and had like the Skeletor with the snake on his shoulder, and you take the snake head off and fill it with water, and you press the snake's head down, it sprays water. That was really cool. But yeah, I mean, some of my friends had everything. They had like Battle Cat, they had loads of characters, they had the Castle Grayskull, all the really cool stuff. But yeah, I did alright. I think I had Man at Arms and Teela as well, if I remember rightly. But yeah, He-Man was awesome. Right, how far are we? Alright, okay, I'll make these the last couple of questions, guys, before we wrap this part up. And they are from, next question is from Lukey1234. Right, and he asks, why wouldn't you get naked on YouTube? Seriously. What do you think? And what's your second favourite console? Be the Sega Dreamcast. Great console, really fun, just exciting console. I like the design of the system, I like the controllers, the VMUs. And the games are just brilliant, just arcade ports, just really, really fun. Just, uncomplicated. That's the best way to describe the Dreamcast. It's not trying to be something, extreme like the PS3 and Xbox 360. There's sometimes they go over the top of the game and they try and fit too much into it, and they just forget the fact that the games are supposed to be fun. The Dreamcast never did that. So yeah, the Dreamcast is my second favourite system. Okay, next question is from Super Nintendo Man 85, great name, and wants to know how many SNES games do I have in total. I have 58 at the moment, mate, all boxed and complete, which is a pretty damn good amount. I think I'm quite impressed with myself getting to that point. Just trying to think. Yeah, I do have 58. That's right. Yeah. So yeah, I'm hoping. I would love if I could, and it's never going to happen because it's like, was it May now? So I don't know. Maybe if I was really to be hardcore and just to not collect for a lot of other systems and just go hardcore Super Nintendo, I'd like to have 100 Super Nintendo titles boxed and complete by Christmas. If I could do that, that would be really cool. And it's not outside of the realms of possibility. I just think it could be a little difficult because of prices and things. And you could quite easily just go and buy all kinds of games and not really have any structure to your collection and just buy for the sake of buying to get the number up. But I don't want to do that. I want to buy games that I actually want to play. But yeah, that's my aim really, to try and get to 100 by Christmas if I can. But I'm quite happy with 58 because that's just an amazing number. One more question and then we'll wrap this part up, guys. And it's from a good friend Cyberlanky. What would you say is the most epic Zelda boss battle? To be honest, mate, I don't know. I'm not really played Zelda games enough to understand what the deal is. I've not completed Link to the Past yet, and I'd like to be able to play Link to the Past in order to complete it, and then I can go and play Ocarina of Time and the other one which I can never remember the name of. Mind always keeps going blank when I try and think of the name of that one. Oh, bloody hell. Anyway, the other N64 game. But yeah, I don't know until I play them, to be honest. I need someone to teach me how to play Zelda games so I can learn, and then I can tell you afterwards once I've completed them. But thank you for the question anyway, mate. So, thank you guys. I'll be back shortly for part 6, and that should wrap it up then. So, thank you for watching, and I'll see you all again soon.